Developing Biliteracy with Intentional Support, Using Interactive Word Walls and Paired Learning, from the book Equity and Diversity. For the past decade, much research has been done to help improve the quality of dual language learning opportunities for young children. The work is focused on examining teacher strategies for nurturing biliteracy development in young bilingual learners from pre-K to third grade in dual language classrooms. They're achieving this goal and wanting to impart the information to teachers so that they can help foster that same growth in their classrooms. They suggest creating situations in which children can develop and practice their first and second language. Back in the previous presentation on dual language learners, that was one thing that was brought up and discussed, is making sure the opportunity is there in both languages, and that they may be more comfortable in their home language or their primary language than their secondary language, and that we have to give opportunities for both. Use particular strategies to facilitate children's learning. That's both in all areas of academics, and make sure that you are using, again, both languages. Plan for interactive learning. Children do not learn best by lectures. It has to be interactive. That's why at early ages, play-based learning is the best way. So how can you incorporate that so that you can achieve the goal of helping them in their biliteracy development? Build on children's previous experience and linguistic backgrounds. They come with so much experience and knowledge, and it is to help them acquire literacy understanding. So use both of the language as they know it to help them further their understanding. Children's daily classroom experiences influence the development of biliteracy and impact the way they feel about themselves as learners. Enabling learners to try out ideas through collaborative activities facilitates language and literacy learning in a safe and nurturing environment. I think about when we talked about the immigrant families and how they really just wanted their children to feel loved and cared for and appreciated. And this is no different. This is those foundational relationship skills that we have that will often foster the children to feel like they can go ahead and try new ideas. Dual language learners who need opportunities to hear and use language in meaningful settings. So as you learn some of the language, their home language, first language, it's important to use that and then use the English version of it. Do your part to be able to learn as many words as you possibly can so that you can help these dual language learners. And focus on the powerful use of partnering as children engage in authentic activity of developing purposeful and interactive word walls in Spanish, English, early childhood environments. And often a child can be partnered up with another child to use that as a strategy for learning, not only for the child that is learning English, but also for the child that has English language and might want to learn another language or can pick up another language. It's a mutual respect, it's a mutual learning environment for them. The significance of interactive word walls for vocabulary development. Word walls provide a visual reference for students, a visual scaffold that temporarily assists learners in reading and writing. Effective word walls support in the following ways. They scaffold students' vocabulary development in their home language and second language. So you want to make sure that you have both of them written out. And depending on the age of the children, it's super important to have an image, the same image with each one. So that's that providing visual cues for references and making sure that if it's home, you have a picture of the home, but the home has to be the same as the one in both languages. So, and then supporting the teaching of high-frequency words. Again, getting to know the children's primary language and being able to use those high-frequency words both in their language and in English. offering a space for students to display their work that's important to them. It goes back to when we talked about writing books, children creating their own books, that we want to offer that space for them to display those books so that others can enjoy it and they can come back to it. This is no different. Promoting independence in reading and writing. We want to encourage them to have that independence. And so we've got to set up our room, our classroom environment to foster that independence and making sure that they have the opportunity to do that, to be able to be independent in their learning process. Tips for word walls. Some things to consider when using word walls. It should be a focal point. It should be placed at eye level. It should be creating interactive opportunities for children to physically touch and remove. You can post words from one lesson and then replace them as needed. One of the things that I like to add to that is also, as you replace them, make sure those other cards that you are replacing are still available to children. So make sure that they're organized in some kind of fashion where they are, again, at their level, that they can go back to using visual cues, and making sure that they know how it's organized. Take time to teach them that, because even though you might be moving on with some new words for them to incorporate based on a lesson, or perhaps an interest of a child, if a child is starting to really get around dinosaurs, or they're thinking about outer space, you're going to want to bring their home language, their primary language, with their second language, and make sure that those cards are available, those words are available in both languages. But as the children outgrow those topics and you're starting to pick up new ones, they still might want to reference those. And having a literacy center, a writing center, is a great place for those to be stored, so children can still access it if they choose to do like books or pictures and want to title things. Use word walls in collaboration with activities that focus on children's background knowledge and language skills. Importance of paired activities in dual language classrooms. Children learn by engaging in various activities with more knowledgeable peers and adults. Pairing students allows children to explore their new language in a social context. The social aspect of learning is embedded in cultural and social practices. Heterogeneous partnering of children based on linguistic and academic levels is always a great way. Partner children from two language backgrounds. Let them serve as language models for one another and allows them to scaffold each other's learning through 1, active involvement of learners, and 2, the use of language that is shared level of understanding, and 3, increased opportunities for verbal interaction. Children learn from children, and that really is often the best kind of learning. So make sure that you are using paired activities, but you want to use that in combination with a variety of other strategies for children to learn languages. Developing vocabulary and fluency. Teachers create interactive word walls. They provide the context for children to learn from each other as they develop literacy. As partners actively create and interact with the words on the wall, they increase their social and linguistic interactions. So not only are they reading them, they're writing them, but they're interacting. And we know that early childhood, the basis or foundation is that social and emotional. It's that connection with one another. And that is often how not only do children learn, but we can sometimes learn as well. So making sure they have the opportunity to use these in a social context. Maybe you want to change a center in your room to reflect maybe somebody's culture or heritage, and you put those words in there so that other children can come in and learn, and that child can also teach the other children about some of the things and items that you put in there. Teachers who use paired strategies allow children to expand learning while using their their language skills. Can practice new and familiar words each day by looking at them, saying them, clapping them, snapping the letters, and writing the words. Turn and talk, engage children in short 5-minute activities in which they listen to and speak with a partner. This is something that I think about when I do my small groups. This is a great opportunity to do that turn and pair or turn and talk activity, is letting each pairing of children intentionally so that they can share about their day. What is it that they did that they enjoyed, or what toys did they play with? And that just really allows them to practice their language in a social setting again. Sharing, writing, and reading. When teachers discuss and use words in context, they enhance children's comprehension and retention of meaning words. Every day we should be modeling the words in context and modeling our behaviors, modeling a lot of things in our classroom, not only for language development, but for all the other reasons that we know modeling is important. It does increase the likelihood that the children will use the strategy. Teachers read books that involve children in partner talk. Children acquire new vocabulary words through meaningful communication. Everything, again, is in context, not lectures, not drill and skill. We want to make sure that we are helping them in a meaningful way. Effective instruction for bilingual learners requires extensive use of real-life objects, artifacts, pictures, drawings that support children's understanding of the concepts. And so we want to make sure we provide that in our classroom. And I want to add at this point, bring in families to this. Make sure that you're inviting them to be part of this in-context learning, that they could come in and read books, or they could just spend time in the pretend center. Whatever it is, make sure that you're involving families, because that's that homeschool connection again. And we really need to partner with the families so that they can see what we are doing and we can learn from them to see what they are doing with their children. So wrapping this up. Interactive word walls and bilingual pairing are instructional strategies designed to facilitate language development. Make sure that you use them, but they don't need to be so formal. Make sure you're looking around your classroom and seeing where you can put some words. They don't all have to be together on one wall necessarily as the word wall alludes you to be, but they can be anywhere. Perhaps put a label on a chair and then write it in somebody else's primary language. The labeling around your classroom, if you're in infantile or preschool classrooms, things need to be labeled. That is something that we know is best practice, and also licensing. So let's make sure that you have it in more than one language, especially when you've got a dual language learner. Get a family involved to make sure you're spelling it correctly, because translation apps don't always work. Make sure you have the correct spelling and the way it's written should be proper. Creating situations for dual language learners to extend their home language, use strategies to facilitate acquisition of a second language, engage in interactive activities with peers, that's that talk and turn, and just many different ways. Just even open play for children will allow them to have that engagement for them to learn from their peers. Planning is critical and should be focused on what the children need to learn and how effectively you teach them. It's something that takes time, and that you need to be intentional with your practice. When children play and work with a peer, they refine key concepts, apply new knowledge, integrate speaking and listening. It is kind of like that immersion technique that high schoolers often use when they're taking a language for the first time. They're using that immersion. So as they're working in the classroom, the teacher is speaking in that language, but yet they are doing activities, and the teacher is helping them apply the new knowledge, and they're integrating the speaking and listening, all that together. And we want to develop a classroom that is welcoming and allowing all to be able to continue to grow. So, as you reflect on this chapter, I want you to think about any experiences that you may have when you were in school, and or if you're teaching right now, developing biliteracy with intentional support. How are you going to be intentional to build biliteracy into your classroom? And how are you going to include the family in that process?